We took him from 500,000 to 8 million a month in less than a year.
Wow.
And then he sold it for 200 million. Look, I'm going to say something here that we all know and aware of. It's very tough to launch new games. Super tough. Deals that I'm most proud of is that we succeeded to do a 007 game. You know, it was like my dream to get the IP. It wasn't easy. It's a mistake you made that changed how you work forever.
Oh my God. First of all, that UA financing is kind of a standard.
Oh my God. Sadly, I don't know what happened in 2025. Everyone is offering it. Yeah, it's entertainment. It's there. No, it's not. It's like books. It's like film. It's like theater. You have a phenomena where the entrenched big market leaders are basically sucking all the air. Look, AI is super promising. I mean, you guys, that's your core. The revenue of apps for the first time this year.
This is insane. Asi, it's great to have you here.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So today my guest is Asi Burak, currently the Chief Business Officer of Tilting Point, former chairman and president of Game for Change, did various of startups in the gaming industry, very participating and leading a lot of stuff in general in video games, and this part of how this medium of video games can be for education and a lot of good stuff for the world, which is refreshing in this industry, which is amazing. And it's amazing to have you here. And I think everyone is really interested to hear about your personal story and how you got to where you are today.
Thank you. So, I always kind of introduce myself with two hats because they're so different. One is Tilting Point, I'm chief business, and it's very, very commercial. I mean, I love what we're doing. We're doing entertainment and we're making a lot of people happy. But the other hat of Games for Change is no less important, the work that I've done with this NGO, with the community, as you said, to make people believe in video games as a medium that is meaningful. Not many times I could merge the two, but I think they live together really nicely. And my full-time job is obviously Tilting Point, and that's where I feed my family from. But Games for Change is very interesting as well, I think. It's giving me a lot for my soul, but obviously giving to others as well.
Can you tell a bit about Game for Change and what you're doing in Tilting Point?
Yeah, for sure. So actually, it's funny because many people in their career, they start in for-profit and then they move to non-profit. In my career, it's a bit different. I started in a non-profit. I came to the US. I studied. I left Israel in 2004. I came to Carnegie Mellon. I did a very new master's back in the day, one of the earliest masters for video games, for entertainment technology. And I did this master's, and then I started my own company, and I already did things that are like games about political things. I did a game about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And then I got very immersed with Games for Change, and they called me to lead the organization. And I ran it, and then I became the chairman, and we built really the biggest platform community for people that want to take games beyond entertainment. We have the biggest event in New York in general for gaming. And now there are satellite events in Turkey. Now we're doing one in Israel in May. This is new. It's not even public yet. There is an event in India. There is an event in Australia, South Africa. And the community became global. It's still niche, but became much bigger. Tilting Point is almost the other end of the scale in the sense that we are laser focused on entertainment, on revenue, profit. But at the same time, as I said, I'm pretty proud of the games we've made because I think that a lot of them are, with a lot of thinking behind it. Great IPs, very things that I'm proud of. One of the deals that I'm most proud of is that we succeeded to do a 007 game. It was like my dream to get the IP. It wasn't easy. We did SpongeBob. So, I feel that it's very content friendly,
It feels like a real game, if you know what I mean. It really feels like that. Yes.
For sure. And with people that love games, that make games, that publish games, so it's kind of, and also, if I needed to say one thing that makes both hats or worlds collide a bit is that at Tilting Point, because we were for years a publisher and because for years we financed user acquisition, I always felt that I'm helping developers. Just like in Games for Change, you help the community. You're like the platform. Many times at Tilting Point, I really felt that, we took someone and we helped him to succeed. And that's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And can you tell us a bit why and more about the thesis behind publishing for Tilting Point, why you are focusing on that instead of new stuff? And then we'll speak about UA financing a bit. But
yeah. So look, we went through a lot of, just like the industry, we adapt very fast historically. I joined actually not from the beginning. Kevin Segala started this company in 2012. I joined at 17. So I passed the whole premium stage. They did premium games. And then when free-to-play came in, I joined. And then, they were doing publishing. They, at Tilting Point, but also in the industry, very traditional publishing. They basically did this, let's look at the game before it releases, and we'll decide if to give it money or not. This is how they do PC and console till today. But in mobile, because you have so much data, it felt weird to do it. And then Samir and Kevin came with this idea. They were co-CEOs. Why don't we go to the games when they're already out? And that was the big innovation that we brought to the market. We were also the first ones doing UA funding for the same reason. Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
From the same reason, that, okay, if data is so important in this thing, why would we make a blind bet on something that is, it's not good for us, it's not good for the developer, because maybe the expectations would be totally misaligned. And then we'll come to the game when it's live, we'll talk to the developer, we'll see the data, and then we can make a much wiser decision and much better alignment. And obviously we'll take less. I'm not going to take 50% revenue share when I'm just came later. And also we saw a lot of developers that they didn't want all the publishing services, but they needed the money.
What is included in the publishing services?
Look, we're not doing any more. This is, evolution number 6.
No, you're adapting fast, which is important.
That we're not doing any more pure third-party publishing. We did it for many years. When we did it, it was a whole set of, we helped developers with ASO, we helped developers with the App Store relationship, everything that has to do with bringing the audiences, okay? Marketing, PR, talking to the platforms, everything. And when you're a publisher, this is, by the way, something I see till today, even though we're not doing this anymore, we're focusing on UA financing, but I still see it that a developer by nature is focused on their game. One title, maybe 2 titles, 3 titles, but they're very, they have limited time, limited resources. This is what they're focused. When you're a publisher, you have a bigger view into, for example, coming to you and say, hey, you need to increase your direct-to-consumer revenue. You need to go to the web. Did you think about it? It's not going to be your main source, but incrementally, you're going to make more revenue. So a publisher has a different thinking than a developer. So even today, we see it when we bring that value to companies that we acquire, for example, right? So we moved from third-party publishing to say, instead of doing that, why don't we help you with UA financing or acquire studios and then do first-party publishing?
Why did you do this change from third-party publishing?
Look, I'm going to say something here that we all know and aware of, but I'm going to say it plainly. It's very tough to launch new games. Super tough. It's tough to launch new games. It's tough to scale games. I think it's improving, for sure, than post-IDFA 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But look, let's be honest, the market is a bit, trying to find ways.
Why do you think it is so hard to launch new games today?
I think that you have this, I'm going to say in very broad strokes, you have a phenomena where the entrenched, the big market leaders are basically sucking all the air, and that's what they need to do. It's their profit, right? But it leaves very small place for newcomers to come in. Not that it doesn't happen, but it's rare, very tough to penetrate. We launched this year one of the last games that we had in our slate, even though it's a first party, it's a studio we own in Korea, Avatar. And it was very successful, but it was so difficult compared to the past, to penetrate and make a splash. And I think that if you look at the number of new games successful in recent years in the data, you'll see a chart, you'll see less and less and less successful new games, more and more entrenched, eating the pie. That's the situation.
It's insane.
Now you could argue the industry is waiting for a new model. That could be the case, that I don't know what it's going to be.
What is your thoughts about this potential new model?
Look, this year, when we looked at UA financing, think about it that it's also a funnel that lets you, also publishing is the same. You see a lot. You see a lot of what's working, what's not working. And I saw a lot of things that start to have strong traction with play to earn. I'm not talking about Web3, play to earn. Okay? I need to
which is a different topic.
Disclaimer. No, play to earn would be rewarded platforms. Okay? Rewarded ads. Play to earn would be skills. Sweepstakes, that was kind of a trend suddenly. I mean, it has its own challenges. But I started to see places where, one of our guys, one of the guys in the company is very smart. He kind of told me, it seems that, when we came to people and we told them we're now moving to free to play, they were like, okay, we can play for free. Now they expect to see cash, It's no longer play for free. They want to earn money. But in many ways, a lot of the things I've seen this year that were very successful and came to our desk were indeed places where people can earn money, not gambling, but whether it's skills, whether it's, accomplish a task, get money for it. I'm not sure that's going to be the mainstream, but it's an example of something that breaks through, So while if you look at a traditional game, casual or mid-core, that will take them today 16 months to see money back from UA, in those new places, it will take 6 months, 4 months, So you see that something is penetrating and achieving traction that the old model doesn't have.
Right, the different new models. First of all, personally, I'm obsessed with innovation. So thinking about how the mobile games industry or the gaming industry is consistently changing.
Yes.
And now we kind of reached. Look, I'm not in the industry for that long time, but I know from all of the stories that I'm hearing from people like you that this industry is very tough at the moment. The mostly challenging. Most of the challenges are around the user acquisition and bringing the audience distribution. And you have a lot of solutions you're trying to help it, but naturally will go up like the CPI. You have more games, not growing. The number of games is not growing, is growing faster than humanity is growing.
Yeah,
so
of course.
It's just getting harder and harder, and it's maybe a new model. Like we see a lot of skill also from our partners and a lot of the industry. We see a lot of skill gaming companies that comes up, sweepstakes, you said.
For sure.
I hope that we will see, in 2026, something that is really innovative. Right. I really want to see that.
Right.
It will be.
Look, AI is super promising. I mean, you guys, that's your core. It's promising. I mean, look, it's a double-edged sword because it makes it very easy to create things. So maybe even more games. But I think it also drives innovation, and I think it will drive new models, and it drives optimization. I mean, look, I'll give you the most basic example. In the past, ad revenue, advertising was very generic. And, me as a viewer, whether I'm on a mobile game or even television, I don't want to see something generic. I want the ad to be very customized. I mean, maybe no ads at all, but if I see ads, I want them to be very natural and organic to what I do. to feel almost part of the experience,
exactly.
to engage me. And with AI, you can get there to places that are super, super optimized. So in that sense, AI can drive things that are benefiting the revenue, but also the player.
Yeah, not damaging the user experience, because usually, one of the things that we're seeing the most at the moment about UA finance, it's first of all that UA financing is kind of a standard.
Oh my God.
It's kind of a standard at the moment. I'm telling you,
crazy.
all of the companies that we work with has UA financing, and they reached to kind of post-Series A, and they know they're not raising money anymore, only UA financing. Why do you think that this is such a big trend at the moment?
It's so interesting because I told you that we did it first in 2017. So when I came to developers back in the day, I needed to educate not like what I'm offering, like what is it even UA finance? I need to explain the model because there was nothing like it. There was VC money, loans. So, and then after a few years, okay, there were a few more players out there, maybe two, okay? When we announced in the beginning of the year, the $150 million fund, we were still one of the only ones. Sadly, I don't know what happened in 2025, a flood in the market. Everyone is offering it, including a very clear transition for VCs from investment to UA financing. Why? I think it's a risk question. They see the same things we're seeing, or the things we talked about, launching new games. And they're like, okay, why would I bet on a company when I can actually get involved with UA financing? There is risk, but it's much less risk. I'm not going to get the same gain. I'm going to get a certain percentage, but I'm going to be involved. I'm going to see what they're doing. I have a foot in the door, and it's much safer, so that's what they're doing. Now, when I look at it, I have to admit, I'm a bit cynical in the sense that they think it's easy. It's not easy.
To do UA financing?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy because, a lot of them are doing it from purely financial point of view. It's limited. When everything goes well, it's okay. But
most of the time, it's not.
When you come to it from a place that you do UA yourself, you know how to run games, you know how to produce games, it's very different.
I think it's becoming a trend. Like the market is flood with companies, you have specific companies that are doing only UA financing.
Yeah.
Like you say, you have VCs that are doing General Catalyst. We have also V Games now with GC kind of partnership.
Yeah.
And do you have more companies like Tilting Point that are doing UA financing? We're
very unique in that.
It's very special.
We're very special in that, and I like it a lot, as I told you, because I think it gives a lot of developers what they actually need. Today, I don't think that there's going to be someone looking for UA financing that is not going to put us in the top 3-5 options. There's more shopping for sure, but it's going to come to us as well, organically. So that's great, and it is unique. And while sometimes I can't, for example, be the cheapest, I don't also want to be the cheapest. I don't think that I'm interested in this race to the bottom to make it like a market, bazaar. But at the same time, I think that I get this advantage because they see that the person speaking to them understands what they're doing.
Yeah, I think this is the USP key. Because you're coming from this is what's special about Tilting Point. It's super different you're not. First of all, you're gamers.
Yeah.
You did it for a long time. You adapted in the market. You saw the bad stuff, the good stuff, the history. And what else UA financing include from your point of view besides, the money? Do you have a more...
Look, there is the whole idea of post-deal, right? Monitoring, consulting, working with a developer. It could be monthly meetings that we do, but it's also weekly consultation. So in a sense, we're not like, okay, boom, sign the deal. Thank you. Bye.
Sometimes VCs are like that.
No, it's a partnership. It's a partnership. We're trying not to intervene. I always tell developers, it's like you're driving the car, but I'm sitting in the back seat. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to go and grab your wheel or anything like that. But if I see that you're approaching a cliff, I'm going to tell you, maybe. Or if I walk with others, and I work on my own games, and I see that suddenly there is a channel that became very strong for something, I'm going to share with you the insight. I want to help you. So why wouldn't I share with you? So my point is, we are passive, but we can be helpful. That's
you have the benchmark. You like you said, you have a wide view. And okay, this is the hardest question of all, I think. But how do you know what game to choose? Meaning that, okay, this podcast called Unpredictable Hits because it's really, you can't predict entertainment and what will work. But when you have a new game that comes to you, whether it's for acquisition, whether it's even in the past that you launch or for UA financing, like what are the stuff that you're looking at and say, I think that is going to be a hit?
Look, in the past, when we did the UA financing in the first fund, the second fund, we were much more about, I want to identify something that before it becomes big. Okay, that was our thesis. And I'll give you an example. One of the successes to illustrate was Match 3D, the first ever.
Oh my god!
So basically, invented the genre.
Of Match 3D. Now 3D. It's
loop games. So this guy made Match 3D, 5 guys in a room in Turkey, and probably took him 2 months. He was also very smart with AI to create levels. So
they just raised money, no? Loop, or am I wrong? Never mind.
No, I think it's a different one. But because he sold. And so he made this game and it's coming to us. And, Turkey, they have this thing that you can get subsidized UA from the government at the beginning. Genius. He got that. And then he came to us and said, look, I'm at $500,000 a month. Already very nice. And the payback was super, super fast because the retention was crazy on this game. And he's like, I want to grow. And I want someone to be flexible, to understand what's happening. And we took him from $500,000 to $8 million a month in less than a year.
Wow.
It was crazy, this growth. And because he was 5 guys in a room, the EBITDA, the profit was super
insane.
High. Yeah. And then he sold it for $200 million. But my point is that this was kind of our model. I want to see something. Today, we're different. I think it's the nature of the market, more conservative. Today, I will prefer much more to do a deal that is much bigger, even someone that spends $5 million.
Oh, wow.
Even someone that spends $10 million. Like, it's much more about you have the history, you have the spend, maybe I help you with allocating cash. Because it's no longer the guys that will come to me, oh, I don't have money. And it's more like, okay, I won't be smart. Like you said, instead of investment, I'll take this. I'll move my, cubes, pawns in a smarter way. So that's a bit how we think about it. And some of the names, I can't mention, unfortunately, but you would be surprised. You would say, wow, this company asking for UA funding? That's crazy.
Yeah, so you're saying that basically, which is it's the first time that I'm hearing about it because I know this kind of threshold even today of $500,000 a month that goes to now it's relevant. It's past our threshold. I think because they're looking at like financial analysts, which is not necessarily the truth about game. And now basically what you're saying is that if your game is even kind of scaled already, like few $millions, even more, it's relevant for UA financing.
100%. And this is a new phenomena. I didn't see it.
I think it's you're leading it at the moment. I don't know it with other studios.
Look, it's super interesting, and I think that a lot of our competitors in UA financing, it's like they're not necessarily able to do that size, but for us, we had a lot of conversations at very large sizes, including public companies, which is super interesting.
Okay, I'm taking us a bit to a different direction that we didn't plan to speak about, but you mentioned Turkey, and we're seeing, amazing companies come out of Turkey. We also know the government help, but I've been seeing, first of all, we work with several Turkey studios, but we've been seeing a lot of funds also and VCs that are coming up of Turkey. Yeah. More money floods into this country. Yeah. Why do you think they are so good at making games?
Look, it's a bit like Israel. So even though the leaders could kill each other, I think the communities are different. And I think, I have many friends from that community and vice versa. Everybody, by the way, thinks I'm Turkish because Burak.
Burak is the first. It's usually the first name
Yeah.
of Turkish people. Yeah.
Super Turkish.
I'm Amit. Like Amit is Amit. Everyone think I'm Indian, which I don't know what to say about that. But
Right. So I get a lot of Turkish, but also my first name, even though it's written a bit differently, Asi is a rebel in Turkey. So they're sure that both of the names are Turkish, and then I get like in Turkish, I get messages like in LinkedIn. But anyway, I love the community, but I think the story is similar. The reason Israel is strong and Turkey is strong way beyond the size of the population or the what it should be. It's a community that it's almost like a virtuous circle of success, investors. So basically, a guy made an exit, he becomes an investor, he invests in more, any mentors, any shares, and then you have the government helping, and you have subsidies, and you have kind of, and also you have, in the case of Turkey as well as in Israel, you have those mother companies that spawn,
Dream,
like
Playtika, and
exactly,
Moon Active,
exactly, and you have Peak.
Yeah.
So you have those veterans that are coming out, and then they're kind of starting their own thing, and they're doing very well. And then you have a guy like Gilad, super play, that Playtika actually buys him after he came out from Playtika.
I think he sold the first company also to Playtika, no? The poker game.
Maybe.
It's
So basically, you have kind of, I think, an amazing case in both those. I think in Finland, maybe you have similar thing. You have a country that is kind of very organic community. People are helping each other. You have
they're collaborating a lot between the different companies.
Networking, introductions. People want to help each other because it's karma. They understand they will get back. That guy will meet them in 3 iterations and will be there, and they'll give it back.
I think in 2026, what we've not been seeing yet from the Turkish industry is that you still don't see consolidation. Like you have in Israel, you see Playtika is, buying a lot. I think in 2026, we will see, I don't know if like companies like Dream or other company, or I don't know if maybe Zynga will acquire more from Rolik and Peak, something like that. But I believe we will see more acquisition maybe in the puzzle genre.
Look, what I would like to see in both of those communities, I mean, wishful thinking is a bit expanding in the sense of, but again, it's the conservative nature of the market. I understand where it's coming from, but it's a bit focusing on the same genres. This is what we know how to do. We're good in Israel. It's like we're good at social casino or semi-social casino, like Coinmaster, things like that. We're going to do the same thing over and over and over. I would love to see how companies in Israel and in Turkey are taking the know-how of that and bring it to another genre, for example.
Wow, it will be super interesting to see.
No,
that.
I'm not even speaking another medium. I didn't even go there. PC and console, but even in mobile, you can take it to other places.
You have very unique experiences in general in Tilting Point because you have mobile, PC, and console.
Yeah.
What learnings do you think you can take from PC and console and implement in mobile?
Look, the truth is that we usually walk the other way. So we call ourselves mobile first. It's true that we have a lot of titles today on PC and we have on console, and some, we for example, had some successful moves from mobile to Switch, like with SpongeBob. But it's usually that way. It's taking actually the
mobile and implementing to other networks
and implementing to other
formats
and figuring out how to. So, for example, in Switch, we figured out mechanisms like we know in mobile, how to drive moments. It's almost like how do you drive event on Switch? Not only expansion packs, but so we found out how to do it with sales mechanisms.
Wow, that is
so that's usually the direction. Probably if I think more, I'll think about things we got from the other direction, but a lot of it is coming from We are mobile and first, and incrementally we will make more money on the other consoles or PC, but it's never going to be the origin of the thing.
Interesting. And about publishing, we have, very, I don't know if to call it two markets, but you have the Western market. Most of the companies are focusing there, and you have, of course, China. Are you focusing on publishing in China currently?
So I used to say that the only the only territory I'm doing it for 9 years now at Tilting Point. The only territory that I didn't do a lot of deals is China. We did a few.
Really? What is happening there?
we did sub-publishing. So, being modest and understanding that we need a partner, we did a few deals of, okay, we have a title that we publish in the West, we'll find a partner there. It's very tough. It's also, we are an American company, now it's even tougher. So that's our story. It's a bit tough, but we did have a success in Korea. And a bit Japan as a result, because there is a lot of linkage. We have an office there. We bought a company, AN Games. We bought a studio in Korea. So we did have success in Asia, but I have to admit that China is still very, very tough to
why it's so, like, what is your assumption of the reason behind it?
I'm going to be diplomatic. It's not only that the culture is different, the model is different, the platforms are different. It's also that the business partnership is very different, and there's a lot of trust issues that you need to work on. And we had, for example, an acquisition deal that we were working on with a company that is not even Chinese. They were actually the buyer. They were not even Chinese. They were owned by a Chinese company. And at the last minute, they pulled away because of regulation, because they thought that a Western government is not going to approve the deal because they're Chinese. So there's so many aspects here that don't work for you that it makes it very difficult.
So if it makes it difficult, it makes it also, an opportunity. Maybe, in the upcoming years, we will, I don't know, the politics and the regulation stuff that I don't know how to solve, but it's interesting to see companies in the space that are trying to kind of decrease the gap of publishing in China, because it's a huge market, right?
It's a huge market. And again, we tried a lot of different things, maybe not everything. Look, the other thing I spoke about until now about this direction of west to east, that we looked for sub-publishers. In Korea, for example, and Japan, we had success with taking things from the Eastern market into the West, because sometimes they lack the expertise in UA, in other aspects, marketing, PR, and we had very nice successes there, even with AN Games and Avatar, to take something. We were the first ones helping them to get a Western IP, and, it was super interesting. So I wish we had the same ability with China, but again, the trust and openness are not there, and they're very used to do things. And if they go to the West, they'll do it themselves and won't trust anyone else. So again, it's, but look, maybe it will change.
I hope. So now we're going to do a bit of a shift. We have here a few cards. I don't know what question you have in the cards, but you can pick one of them, read the question, and then first of all, tell us what is the question, and then you can answer. So
I can invent it.
You can
What's the mistake you made that changed how you work forever?
Oh my God.
Whoa,
I can do a podcast by my own, speak about the mistakes I made.
That's a tough one. I think it's probably going to be more about employment, like people that work for me. I think that I had a lot of people in those 9 years coming, going, growing. But there are probably one or two cases that didn't end well. And I promised to myself not to repeat the experience. Sometimes you do it because you think that what you're doing is right. And maybe it is right, but it's not smart. I think it's a small industry. People that work for me, I want to part ways amicably. I want to part ways, and this whole idea that you part ways and there is anger, and I should avoid it.
This is good. I also can relate to that. Let's speak a bit about IP, something that you have a lot of thoughts around, and you're very supporting it. And we're seeing actually more and more IP-based games that are launching lately. This is Solitaire by Superplay. We see also Gem City and etc. Tell us about what it's like to work with IP, because from what I've heard, it's not easy.
It's not easy, but I think it's a matter of practice. It's a matter of reputation, and it's a matter of doing it again and again. So you get better at that, and you get almost like a systemic way to approach it. First of all, we're an American company. It makes it easier. A lot of the brands we're talking about are American, and we're even in the same city or very close. We help developers from other regions to get those IPs because of that. We started with smaller IPs and grew. The more we got confidence and the more we got reputation. The important thing about IPs is that you need to understand that you're given by the brand something very precious, okay? Very expensive, something they invested in. They got audiences. If it's a big IP, they got phenomenal success. And not only that you cannot hurt it, you need to do something that adds value to it, And you need to do something in the medium that even the brand is going to be proud of,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of brands, coming from movies and, TV series, they look at mobile games as this small thing, but you want them to understand that they can actually reach huge audiences and sometimes even bigger audiences through the mobile. And you want to show them that it's not like merchandise, it's a real eyeballs play. So the whole process is very to educate them, to educate ourselves in the brand. And I think that one of the keys is starting from the pitch. If you take an IP and you bring it to the wrong engine, wrong genre, you're doomed. It doesn't matter what you'll do. When you launch it, the people that are expecting the IP experience are going to be disappointed. You need to do something that is and it's not easy. That's a part that is not just relationships. It's not just managing the brand. It's not just if you made the wrong choice there, it's tough. You need to make a very good choice between, okay, this IP has those assets and values and audiences. This genre would be a good match. I'll give you an example. When we did the SpongeBob cooking game, that was a brilliant choice that one of our product guys did. To take SpongeBob, that is actually, you would think it's a much more kids brand, very mainstream, and to think actually on the cooking genre that takes it to a different audience, but something that's that fits very well the brand values. That was a huge success in the match, and something very creative in the match. That we could easily do something that would be a total misalignment.
Yes, you're saying if you're doing IP, you should really understand the IP, really understand what type of mechanic genre is working with that IP and make the connection. Like not just saying, let's take this IP in order to decrease CPI and
100%.
Those stuff. Do you think games should...
Or the opposite. You have a game, let's say that you have a game that it was non-IP and was successful, and now you want to do a version with IP or something like that.
Interesting.
You have all those brands in the world, like which one you will take? Or IP integration, for example. Same idea.
Do you think it's still an untapped market? Meaning that, do you believe that in terms of, I don't know, even profitability or in terms of revenue stream, do you think that the companies today in studios should go more and more and explore IP collaborations? Because it's not so we have monopoly.
I don't see it as a commodity, I see it as still a high quality play. Obviously, Monopoly Go is an amazing example, but it took them 6 years.
A lot of time.
You know, so that was also, you know, they started with the wrong game. They killed it. It didn't get the right KPIs. They moved to another genre. Take Superplay with Disney. So it's when you have a high quality move with a lot of with the right match and the right alignment and a lot of strengths behind it, 100%. If you're when you do a smaller move, smaller IP, it's not going to get the same impact for sure.
And for, let's say I'm a founder, now I'm opening my own studio. Do you think is it a good strategy to start the first game, considered I raise my seed round with an IP title?
I think it will be very difficult, challenging, even to get the IP. Because unless you're like a veteran of whatever, because
Unless you are you.
because you come to the IP guys and they're like, okay, what did you do with IP, you know, before? And or that they will say, okay, you did a non-IP that was huge. I get it, but they need to see the eyeballs. They need to see, you know, people don't understand it. When licensors, when you get to know them, it's not only about how much money they get. It's also, is it even worth the time that I'm going to invest in this now? To hear your pitch, to work with you, to do a contract with you. I mean, those guys, they have like 2 guys in a division that are responsible for licensing games, you know? And even that choice of where to put their time at is a very, very important choice for them.
Wow. No,
So, you know, they have scopely pitching and they, you know.
yeah, no, I'm with you. Like,
It's tough.
I think it's like they're like the top VCs in the world, like the Sequoias of the world, and they, like you said, they need to understand where to put,
And
and they have
everybody-
more risk in investing than not.
And everybody wants them, and everybody is running after them, and you know, it's starting to build a reputation with them. It takes time.
And if, like, what are your thoughts on a game that already scaled? Let's say that a game that is ready even for UA financing. Do you think it's relevant then to explore collaboration, like even if the game is already running?
One approach is to do IP integration. You know,
What does it mean?
it's a good test to basically do an event, you know, and see how it goes. So, for example, you have a game that is working. You think that I'm trying to give a kind of an IP. You think that K-pop IP from Netflix is going to be a great IP for them.
Oh my God, I believe that everyone is running after them.
Of course. and between us, probably Netflix will do it themselves. But just for the illustration, instead of going and you're coming to Netflix and you're saying, look, guys, let's not do the whole thing. Let's do an event. You know, I'll run the event. I'll pay you for the event. You'll get rev share. We'll run it for a month, maybe less. And let's see how the people are responding, you know? Let's test it. And if it's good, yeah, great. Let's do a new game, you know, together.
Amazing.
Based on the same engine, obviously.
I hope that we will see more and more IP games, because I think I didn't hear until now a lot of information about what is really working with IP, and I think the industry is missing this type of information,
yeah.
which is it's kind of educational.
Look, it's also a
thing.
magic sauce, you know. I'm not going to...
Yeah, of course.
No, I'm not going to sit here and show exactly how we pitch to brands to win brands and exactly, you know, it's not many
But to
people
think
do
about, I think it's out of people mindset when
Yeah.
they work on games and the big companies.
Look, we always had and still have people in the company that this is what their specialty is, IP insights and understanding the market of IPs, understanding trends, understanding...
Oh, it's such a cool job.
Yeah, it's a cool job.
It's a very, very cool
sure.
job. Let's speak about a thing that I assume you heard in the past, which called AI. And your take on AI, and where do you think it's going to be involved in 2026 in mobile games?
Yeah.
And what's are your, let's start with general thoughts and then we will delve deeper into
Look,
stuff.
I can't say a fan because that would be... I'm definitely on the positive side of what it can do. Also in my personal life, you know, I'm using it more and more. I thought about the recent behavior change that I'm using ChatGPT 90% of the time. I'm not going to Google anymore. I'm not searching, I'm going directly to the AI. So that's in my personal use, but in the company, in how we look at the market, in business, I'm mostly optimistic and positive, and I'm seeing AI being used in tons of places in the industry to optimize production, to optimize. I know there is some rejection, especially in the kind of core console places and creation, the concern that it will replace people's jobs and stuff, and there is a bit of a pushback. But for me, looking objectively, I see how it optimizes a lot of aspects. We talked earlier about advertising, how it can optimize. We can talk about UA, how it can optimize. We can talk about monetization. I mean, all those things, if AI is giving you an amazing boost in doing the things you do much better, and I gave you the example of generic advertising. I'll give you another example. In the past, there was kind of this cliche or assumption that retention and monetization are conflicting. If I'm going to monetize aggressively, I'm going to... Suddenly, when you become more sophisticated and with AI, you understand that this equation is not necessarily right. That you can actually be much more successful with communities that are much deeper, and you can monetize much better if you do it right, if you do it in a way that is not generic, versus communities that are very shallow, and they just come and go, and they're not deeply engaged. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, of course.
AI is giving you that, can give you and giving you already that edge. And I think that that could make mobile even more ahead of the curve in terms of marketing, in terms of live ops, in terms of monetization. I see today, we see a lot of apps that are not games. And then I see how in games, we're so ahead in understanding all those levers,
Wow. You're saying that mobile games are ahead of the apps.
It's interesting. They're ahead in sophistication of creation, but the revenue of apps for the first time this year.
This is insane. Let's speak about it a bit, about mobile apps.
Look, I love it because I love the idea that the two areas are becoming more, in general. Also, we spoke about games for change. I like when you break boundaries, when definitions kind of start to melt down. So the idea that you start to see apps that are like games, Duolingo is the example that everybody is giving, but there's so many. So the idea that those things are not necessarily separated anymore. Apps can learn from games. Games can learn from apps. Apps are using monetization models that games already tried and experienced with. Apps are using AI creation. One thing that is, by the way, I think helping this rise is not only AI in the creation and simplicity of bringing something to market, it's also how niche your audience can be. We're starting to see when in the UA financing, we have apps coming to us with a small amount of subscribers that make them still very successful, but it's so niche, it's so specific that it's like you see, if in the past it was like, I'm going to create something for everyone or a huge, it's like they are so targeted, they know so well who they are doing it for, and those people are very loyal to them, and it can be a great successful app,
I'm getting now a lot of ads of an app called Paladin, I think, for I really love history, so I'm getting Duolingo for history, and I'm going to install it probably soon.
For example. It's crazy. It's crazy. And again, it goes with the whole idea of being advertising more personalized. Look, some of the best products I ever bought were Facebook ads that I got. There's no media that knows me better than... Sorry that I'm still using Facebook. It's mainly for my Israeli community. I need to excuse it for.
This is good. As a last topic, I think it's great. We spoke about mobile games, the business, UA financing, publishing, AI. but we have a bit time to speak about a very important topic, which is the medium of games. And I think it's a great opportunity for everyone basically to hear, and for me personally also to listen, because it's very inspiring. Can you give us your take about how we can actually utilize mobile games or video games in general for better causes of the world?
Look, this was my passion and is my passion for more than 20 years. This is how I started in the industry. I came to Carnegie Mellon. I told you about this master's that was super unique, and it opened my eyes. And I'm like, wow, this is a medium like any other medium. It's not like this, many people, parents or government officials or businessmen, definitely older generation, for them, it's like, yeah, it's entertainment. It's there. No, it's not. It's like books. It's like film. It's like theater. In the idea that instead of saying it's only for entertainment, I want it to be like this. I want it to be for every taste, every age, every mood, and every purpose. So yes, many games are for entertainment. That's great. That's the majority. But I want to see games in school more. I want to see games in universities. I want to see games in every medical center, not to just entertain, to help surgeons be better surgeons, to help patients fight. I've seen games that help kids with cancer to understand and be much more in compliance with the drugs. I made games in Games for Change that help pregnant women in India to understand the cycle of 9 months. Wow. It was called 9 minutes because it wasn't mobile. 9 minutes, 9 months of pregnancy and what they need to do. So there's so many things, and we're just scratching the surface of what you can do with this medium. Now, you'll ask me, okay, so how is it different than books and film? The big difference is interactivity. Think about a book, film, theater were passive, okay? I'm putting you in a dark room. You're watching something that is scripted. You cannot change it. You cannot do anything. With a game, you change the plot. You make decisions. You fail. You can succeed after that. You can understand what you did wrong. There's cause and effect. There is exploration. There's failure in a safe environment. There are so many things here that are attributes that you don't have in other media. And that makes it an amazing learning experience. It can make it an amazing training experience. It can make it also an amazing experience to understand the world. You see more and more with social media and the current discourse that people are more and more going to the sides of the spectrum, and also more and more entrenched in their own beliefs instead of exploring other. They're becoming even more in the echo chamber. With games, if I wanted, for example, to teach you about Iran, and I made a game about Iran, and you would understand who are the stakeholders, you would understand the news about Iran 10 times better than watching news passively, If I let you play Khamenei now versus Trump, it's not easy to make that game, but it's possible,
Oh, this is beautiful, and we should have it more, which is amazing. And
yeah. Look, people are doing it all over the world. It's great.
But you want to see this kind of standardized.
And also I want to see. There are a few people always tell me, "Oh, but it doesn't make money." Not true. There are a few examples of people that made a lot of money with games like this. Plague Inc. Made a lot of money. Papers, Please is a game that made a lot of money. This War of Mine. The Polish creation made a lot of money. So there are cases that they penetrate the mainstream, but think about documentaries. It took them decades to get to that place that they actually make money as well, So it's going. It's getting.
As the last question, what is the best moment, like a moment in your career that remember most of the entire moments that you saw in the last, 20 years that you're in games? Specific moment that kind of changed your mindset, your thinking, your approach?
Interesting. Okay, so I'll actually take it from the video games as a medium perspective. I can speak about Tilting Point. There was a moment we became number 10 at the top game makers. I remember that award show. We were like before FunPlus, before Tencent, before huge companies, and we were like number 10. It was crazy, and not many years ago. But in the medium sense, in the first term of the current administration in the US, they sat with the lobby of the gaming industry and a lot of politicians, and they showed a video. And I think it was 67 seconds of the worst of video games. They wanted to tell them, this medium sucks. Because all they chose, like someone curated the worst
Classic
moments from GTA, from this. People are butchered. And this is video games. And they put some music, I don't know what. And then at Games for Change, I spoke to Susanna, who is now the president. And I'm like, Susanna, I have an idea. Let's do a video, 67 seconds. We'll show the other side of video games. And we made, in a few days, Tilting Point helped with the video creation. We did a beautiful collage of, the best moments, people hugging each other. But not only like kumbaya, like meaningful moments, like real adventure moments, and the beauty of games that some of them are masterpieces. And we put it online, and it became so viral, so fast. And you had to see the comments of gamers and people that play games of, you made me proud of my medium. This is exactly the reaction we need. We're not like going to shout at them and scream at them. We're going to show them what this medium is really, So that took me to a place of, instead of being negative and fight, and like show the alternative,
I must say, Asi, I'm fascinated in a way that I was, I think, never before.
Thank you.
So I wanted to say, first of all, thank you for coming. It was amazing. It was amazing, because I know from all of the people there that they are quiet. It means they are listening and fascinating. And personally, I'm sure for me it was amazing. And I'm sure everyone that is listening, I think you spoke about a lot of stuff that people are not speaking about enough. More practical stuff and commercial stuff, and more general stuff about the medium of video games and what it's really about, and what is entertainment, and what is behind that, and how we can use it for a better cause. So I want to say a huge thank you. And,
thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to speak not only about the commercial stuff.
So thank you, Asi.
Thank you.
Wow, Asi is a hammer.